Welcome to the ruckus, everyone.
Yep.
In a Case for Mistrust, episode 3.
Ooh, there was other stuff I didn't look at.
Ooh, in that
Shaker.
case, time to click.
Frankie had a bond with that old shaker at the end of the bar. I was surprised he hadn't named it. He could sling a mean drink, though he'd only use the good liquor if he liked you. Frankie liked me.
For those of you
He really liked me.
For those of you who are just joining us, we just had an encounter with one Mrs. Green after a Mr. Green
I
decided to
believe
hire
her
us.
name was Little Fanny. Thank you very
I'm
much.
sorry, Little Fanny Green, who the bartender, Frankie, has taken quite a liking to.
He took quite a shine to that Fanny.
He took quite a shine to that Fanny, indeed. So, could you tell us what's actually happening with the rest of the quest? Because all I remember is that there was a cat who really wanted some food.
That's the main goal. We're trying to find the food for the cat.
Yeah, but tell us what you're actually aiming
No, we're looking into someone threatened a local bootlegger, and we're trying to figure out who it was.
Yes, let's find out who
Once
the
I'd asked
threatening
Frankie to lend me some cash from that register, he growled so fierce that I decided not to ask again. I didn't think his employers would notice before I got it back, but maybe he just wanted to save me from myself.
Even more drink. Oh, before you go, there's another drink on the counter. The last one gave you a clue, which was a poem.
No, another
There was one on the left, and one on the right,
okay.
yeah.
This bottle showed a California bear with the words Bohemian type in block letters underneath. I doubted that bear had ever heard of Bohemia, but he did look carefree.
It feels like they're talking about me. Did the developers know? Oh, there might be a special chair for you. There might be one that you... Oh, yeah!
Barstool was crooked and worn. My usual one was in the center of the room. I could sit on it for hours if Frankie had a yarn to spin. Of course, the sauce helped keep me in my place, too. I could also spin in the chair.
Whee!
Okay.
It was the
The
benefit
ward
of
stairs
living.
led to the outside world.
It was a benefit in sitting in a chair that had known my ass for a mile. It knew my little Fanny well.
I was heading up the stairs when Frankie called after me.
So, what are you gonna do today?
I've been thinking about little Fanny. Can't get that ass up. That ass has been walking through my mind all day. I've been thinking about little Fanny. I suppose even mobsters had people who cared about them. And she'd be wearing Lewis's old jacket, so perhaps Green and Lewis had been closer than I'd realize. I guess I'll take Connor Green's bait, I replied. I've got nothing better on the stove, and he might need the help. Something still stinks, though.
Well, what's your plan, my little
Frankie
dick
said.
friend?
Hey, I got a big old dick. Big old contradict. The way I see it, I have 3 goals right now.
I'm sorry, I think you're gonna need to
food.
prove that.
Green hired me
Contradict!
Contradict. Green hired me for a job. Find the guy who wrote the letter. That's the basic part.
But you want more?
Asked Frankie. Everyone wants more. I nodded. Green's a shady character. I have to learn about him. Who is this guy? Digging his past. I can't go back to him blind. And then there's something about his bootlegging. How'd Green get a connection like that? What's his source exactly? Squeezing like lemon might give me more juice. Love juice.
That sounds alright, my friend.
He replied.
So, where is it that you're off to?
I've got 3 leads. That bootlegger stable, who Green claims sent him the letter, the Tin Spoon Lounge, where I might learn more about Green's rum-running scheme, and Mrs. Green, who will give me more dirt on her husband. Frankie nodded his approval.
Well, if you're ever stuck, come back and see me, and bring Mrs. Green with you. You can never solve anything without talking it over with a good and wise friend.
I smiled and went upstairs. On the job. I was debating where to go next.
Well, that little Fanny's on your mind.
Yep, so I'll do that.
You went to the Tin Spoon Lounge and sent to her house?
Well, this is where she... no, I'll go to her house. Tiny Paul. Can't wait to see how big Tiny Paul is, though. Green's house might contain some more clues about his past. For some reason, a threatening letter would come his way. And if I got lucky, Mrs. Green would be there to pump with more questions. Or other stuff.
Lewd.
Like some contradicting.
Lewd, rude, and full of attitude. I don't like it.
I don't know. I was going to say lewd, rude,
I'm
and crude.
still waiting for you to feed me!
Oh god, the cat is haunting my nightmares. I gave him my address and slouched in the backseat of the taxi cab. I thought a good way to pass the journey might be to chat with the driver.
Are you going to look at the magazine again?
Distracted by stupid newspapers. I started a conversation with the driver.
Oh, finally.
A young man who was a former journalist in Tennessee.
Tried to change the place with my reports.
He said with slight twang.
Left as soon as I saw that'd be impossible.
What change did you have in mind, I asked.
Welp!
Whelps? That was what you were trying to change?
That's right. I was getting quite a whipping from my old editor. You see, I was a staunch old believer in democracy. My editor was a believer in tyranny. But my old state's got this lawman, John Butler, that sells snake oil as far as I'm concerned. He wants to outlaw teaching evolution to children. I tried to fight it to show the people he was insane. But it seems like his law will pass. How does this con man know more than a scientist? That's just one example. But it's damn tyranny of the 51%.
I agree with you. Democracy just doesn't work.
Here's to benevolent dictatorship.
Hey, don't blame me. I voted for Kodos. I'll argue democracy's good.
Hey, don't blame me. I voted for a military coup.
The will of the will of the people is the best governing solution we've got. It might not be perfect, but it's better than being ruled by kings or aristocrats. Or being in a democracy where we're still ruled by aristocrats. Get out your choppy boys, everyone.
Get out your plutocrats, everyone.
Yeah. And combine the two, like we did in one shot.
It'll be like a Pokemon battle.
You take the plutocrats, and you combine them with a guillotine, and you get a happy ending. The driver shook his head. The will of the people gets dangerous if the people don't know what they're talking about.
Wait, isn't that me?
Oh yeah, that is you.
We're swayed by the loudest talker, like my friend here who just spoke for me. If more than half the people say black is white, does that make it so? I mean, if more than half people say black is white, I mean, it probably would cause a difference, because that would cause a change in the dictionary definition.
The taxi pulled up to our destination.
The cab is a dictatorship, like a dictionary. Both of them has dick in their name, and I think that means that's encouraging for you. And I say you've got to get out now, so I can grab another customer. Democracy in action, he winked. The will of as many people as possible in this own cab. Hey-ya, hey-ya.
Really mixed up your point.
Bolshevikism for communism.
Okay, the Green's apartment was a section of an old Western Edition mansion. The owners had divided it for struggling families to rent after the 1906 fire, once downtown had been rebuilt. People of means moved out of the area. Recent immigrants, mainly from Japan, rented out most of the apartments in this part of town.
Yeah.
I knocked on the front door, but I didn't get a response. The latch was undone, so I pushed it open and stepped into the room.
Oh my god, look at that posture. I want to be able... Hold on, let me sit like that.
Oh man, she's gonna be drugged up. The room reeked of laudanum. Based on the smell, I imagine she had enough opium to knock out a horse.
Oh my god, it's like a weekend for me. This is great. I love her.
Dude, okay, let's look at the coat. She won't notice anything, she's high. The gray trench coat was hanging in the doorway. It certainly looked identical to Lewis's. I searched the pockets and found no identifying marks. Might have been a different jacket, but its recent appearance was off-putting.
I just realized you just barged into this lady's house.
Again, she's high on opium. No worries. The bottles on top of the round table were mostly empty.
Chasing after that Fanny.
Yeah, you know, I'm doing it for the nookie. I opened the drawer of the backmost table. There were 2 train tickets. I mumbled, St. Louis, to myself, but then I came the cackling voice of Mrs. Green.
Ha! Forget about moving, Connor. I won't budge.
Her head was raised, but her eyelids still remained closed. I'll ask her. I asked her further questions, but her head just lolled back to where it had been. There was nothing else she'd say. High as a cat. I'm gonna smack some sense into her.
No, don't smack some sense. That's very rude.
Unless she's already full of smack, I'll just smack her some more. A wilting plant was on the furthest table from the door. I could never keep plants alive either. Even as the petals fell, they were still vibrant yellow. It's like some sort of metaphor.
Get some of the drink out of that bottle.
Empty bottles were strewn around the apartment. I got under my nose and detected the distinct aroma of laudanum, opium mixed with booze. A harsh tonic. And the tonic is chronic.
And that's why we chronically use the tonic.
Yep. I found Mrs. Green slumped in her chair, eyes closed, head rocking slowly. Talk. Hello, Mrs. Green, I said loudly. She let out a long moan from the chair, then lifted her head, but failed to raise her eyelids.
Feed me.
Oh god, she's possessed by the cat! She tilted her head to the side, giggled, and then let it lull back into place. I shook her lightly, and she moaned again, but nothing more.
You got it!
Oh, there's something over here. The ashtray on top of the smallest table is overflowing with spent cigarettes.
Well,
I guess that's all there is to do here.
Yeah, it looks like you made the wrong choice.
Or maybe like the
Wait,
fact...
did you click on that thing in the background?
Yeah, that was the plant.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing we have notes. But still, this might be useful for notes.
Check. Show the cat there's no food. He still doesn't believe you.
No statements. What's the evidence? See, empty bottles. Ticket to St. Louis. I got evidence. So.
I think the ticket to St. Louis is probably going to be the most useful thing.
I think so will the laudanum is probably going to come up. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that's all we can do here for now.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's go to all 3 places before we end the episode. Unless you want to end now.
No, let's... I think we have time for one more.
Okay.
Let's go to Tin Spoon Lounge, because I feel like her laudanum habits are going to be maybe irrelevant to Tiny Paul, the gangster that Green had put in
Wait a second. What if it's Tinny Paul and there's just a misspelling?
They've misspelled it a lot. The mob keeps a tight lip on their own houses, but I figured it would be a good place to chase Green's bootlegging story. Vroom vroom!
It's the 1920s.
Anyway, now I'm going to talk with the taxi driver about the benefits of a constitutional monarchy. I debated.
Howdy, friend!
Howdy, friend. I believe that the king has a divine right inherited by God.
Not to talk politics or anything.
Not to talk politics, but I believe the Magna Carta was a mistake. I glanced towards the driver and noticed the right side of his face was covered by a tin plate, painted to match his light skin tone. Set in plate was a glass eye. Hey, what happened
Why
to your
you
face?
fucked up in your face, old man?
I asked about his disfigurement. He gave a rough grunt and said,
The war.
I stayed silent for a moment. He added,
Less near Flanders.
Which division? I pressed.
69th Division. The
Sexy.
best division.
It keeps coming back to butts. Again, after a pause, he continued,
The Hun came at us quickly. Don't remember much.
He tapped his faceplate and said,
The precious early casualties.
Was that your only battle? I asked. He gave a short
Which
grunt
it
and
wasn't.
nodded.
I had a battle with a friend over the benefits of monarchical dictatorship.
Ah, called it. We rolled to my destination. He turned to me and smiled.
Thanks for talking. Most won't even look at me.
I smiled back and stepped out of the taxi cab.
This conversation was precious to me.
I opened the cab door in front of a North Beach warehouse with a wooden sign. The sign's text was too worn for me to decipher any of its English, but a small gray spoon was still visible below the letters. Must be some sort of aluminum spoon, I guess.
Howdy, friend!
I rapped my knuckles twice over the large metal door. A panel just above my head slid sideways to reveal a pair of eyes.
Howdy, friend!
He has no eyes!
My eyes are just crooked and eyebrow shaped.
Only the cat had only the cat. The cat's the only being who's been displayed with eyes. Coincidence? I think not.
Oh.
Cat's the big bad. The eyes looked me up and down, then just stared straight ahead. They were black and held no emotion. They held nothing. They're not there. The room beyond was dimly lit, so I couldn't see much of their surrounding face. I can't see his face.
You know, for some reason this feels like Mike Magnolia's situation, because none of his characters have eyes either.
I cleared my throat. Then a rumbling voice emerged from behind the door.
Fill full your cups, feel no distress, at all our great thoughts shrinking less.
I looked at the eyes, still moving. I understood. The doorman wanted a password. I thought I might have something in my notes that should help. I do. It was on that bottle.
Good thing you have a memory. I sure as hell don't.
It was on the wine
Oh,
bottle.
that's right. Coffee. That was the,
No, not that one. Bottle with poem. There it is.
Well,
do a good deed, nevertheless.
Yeah. Evidence. So
wait, why is it not letting me use that?
Look at notes. Okay. Yeah, let's use the fucking thing.
No, I don't want to use that as password, but
use
there
password.
We go. Okay, I don't know why it didn't let me pick it before.
Yeah.
We'll do a good deed nevertheless, I recited, what I'd remember from one of Frank's bottles. The eyes squinted.
Here.
The world squinted because there was no eyes.
Wait here.
Came a gruff response. The panel slid shut and I heard footsteps walking away. I rolled a cigarette and waited. Cigarette rolled all the way down the hill.
Oh man,
I rolled another.
I can just imagine you I rolled a cigarette. You immediately drop to the ground and rolling around.
I was just imagining it's in San Francisco, so she bends over at the top of the hill and flicks the cigarette and watches it roll down the hill.
3 cars crash into the cigarette.
Yeah, that car swerves to avoid the cigarette and it crashes into 3 others.
Oh my god, that's happened literally every time I've gone to San Francisco. I stop at a light and then I see a taxi cab and it goes and I'm like, how the fuck does this happen here so often?
You keep killing people. Anyway, after a quarter of an hour, 15 minutes, the panel opened again. Bart, oh, that's you.
Bar's closed, but you can shoot pool in the upstairs room.
Said the eyes. The
what
eyes! And also, the words are coming from the eyes. I pulled the door ajar so I could see a set of metal.
Actually, I can believe that those eyebrows actually are the eyes, because if they're talking from the eyes, you could see it being midway through television.
That's like nightmare fuel. That's like, what is the name? The Corinthian from Sandman?
I fucking love that book.
The eyes are mouths. I walked up the stairs and opened the thin wooden door to the billiards room. It was much smaller than I'd expected for a gangster's paradise. The only light came from hanging lamps above the billiards table. The haze of cigarette smoke darkened the room.
Ooh.
Spending most of our lives here. Anyway.
I wish I could spend most of my life here. I have to go to work.
A couple of tall chairs were placed around the billiards table. The room was lit only by dangling lamps above the billiards table. The rack on the wall held 5 cues for the billiards table. I wonder if they're trying to tell me something about the billiards table.
I think they're saying that you need to have a ball.
A bottle of unlabeled wine sat on the table. When I sniffed, it smelled of strong spice.
Ooh.
Not laudanum.
Not yet.
Good old laudanum. A clean ashtray sat next to an empty glass table in the corner.
Oh, I think the pictures to the left could have been highlighted.
Nope.
Okay.
Pool table was the focus of the space. The light reflected from its smooth green surface tinted at the den. All right,
I think you literally clicked on everything with the guy.
I saw a tall, broad-shouldered man playing the table by himself. Based on Frankie's description, I gathered this was Tiny Paul.
He doesn't look that tiny.
You're not tiny. But you are definitely a Paul. I cleared my throat to get him to look at me. Look at me! Then followed with a casual, are you ever going to take a shot? Don't want to miss your shot. He stood up straight and rested his cue on the table and looked at me sideways. It was the petulant look of a boy forced to play with his younger sibling.
Hello.
He sighed. I asked him more about billiards. Thing is, he said in his baritone,
once you clear more balls than the other guy, you've got more crap in your way. Billiards is all about navigating through the crap.
Keeps coming back to butts and balls. I never shot much pool, but I thought he might like me more if I feigned interest. I considered lying to him, telling him that I played a lot.
Look, all I gotta say is, billiards is all about what happens when shit hits the balls.
No better sport than shooting on balls, I lied. Didn't seem to like my answer.
Sometimes, you broads will say anything to get what you want.
He's still eyeing the billiards table, he asked.
And what is it that you want, little lady?
I asked about green.
You look like someone who's after Fanny, not green.
I do nothing but chase Fanny. Little old Fanny. How's the gamble on that wine? He grunted.
Green's setting it up with a muscle. What more is there?
You like green? Do you like him?
I
asked. The wrinkles on his brow deepened.
Like or dislike, it don't matter. Sometimes I work with what I'm given. And he's giving us a good lead,
if you know what I mean.
I suppose that's why you're here, Malone.
So he'd known me too. The doorman must have looked me up. The Bay talks fast. The Bay talks in this world.
Anyhow,
he said, eyeing the billiards table.
Oh, you need anything else from me? If you want something, better ask specific.
Mobsters never failed to grate my nerves. He wouldn't tell me anything unless I pushed back with what I already knew. Shove.
Should have gone here last, probably.
So I've got, because apparently I've got a...
Oh, ticket to St. Louis makes sense.
Yeah. Ask Tiny Paul. I considered telling Tiny Paul about Green's tickets to St. Louis, but if these mobsters thought that Green was about to blow town, they'd be liable to dig him an early grave.
Oh, yeah.
I still needed to solve my case, and for that I needed my employer alive. Maybe after all cleared up, I'd mention Green's tickets. I must have been lost in thought because Tiny Paul said, "Can I get let me see what else I can... statements.
Maybe about the jacket, so that way you can figure out if it's actually his.
I was going to ask about...
Oh, Singer, go.
Green's wife is a torture here? I asked. Paul smiled.
With the pipes she's got built into that Fanny, she's the reason most fellas keep coming back to the joint.
She sings out her ass. Okay, statements. How about...
Hello!
Hello, my baby!
Hello, my honey! Hello, my ragtime girl!
Yeah, I'll ask Tiny Paul. What's that got to do with anything? Okay, he didn't like that.
Okay. Did she murder my uncle?
Statements.
From this, can you tell from this jacket? Threatening letter?
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Know anything about this note? I asked and pulled up the letter with the black hand on it. Tiny Paul looked at the page, then laughed with his whole body.
So there is a letter. Green's shaking over that? I'm not losing sleep, though. Look, Green and I aren't best pals, but nobody'll touch him with our protection. And none of us sent it to him, or else I would know about it.
That's evidence.
Nice.
Nice.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, sure. Let's ask him about that.
So you're giving Green the dough?
That's right. We gave him the cash to get the supply going.
You already gave him the money. Aren't you afraid he's going to run out on you? I asked. Tiny Paul frowned.
I suppose you know less than I thought. Well, just to set you straight, that kid's right under my thumb. No way he'd get out of town alive before setting up our source.
The source.
Ooh.
He turned his gaze back to the pool table. Anything else?
I wonder if you can question him on that in order to find out the source.
What's the source?
What the source? Following your husband, arrival at Southern Coffee.
I don't think I can ask him about his stuff.
Redstone Stables, maybe?
Probably next.
Oh god, did it happen again?
No, well, actually, let me see.
Hang on.
Because I have to do it through this. I can't, if I just click notes, I can't interact. I have to do it through that.
Yep.
There we go. Know anything about Redstone Stable? I asked.
Heard the name.
He replied.
But why all the gossip? He could tell you more about himself.
You won't give me anything on him?
Now, why would I do anything like that? Anything else?
It's about time to end the episode. You wanna?
So I guess nothing else.
I mean, yeah.
Then let's see you next time, everyone.
Distrust you later. Bye.
Bye!